Well, good morning, Glue Troopers. I hope you're doing well. Max of Max's Models here. If I told you, let's build some models of some 50-year-old airplanes, you'd probably drag out a Phantom or a 707 or something like that. But I thought we'd talk about some of the aircraft that are surprisingly 50 years old. Now, there are a few civilian aircraft, many of which I hadn't even heard of till I did a little research for this, that I saw that and said, okay, 50 years old, could be older. But then there were a couple of others that kind of surprised me. Several people have recently sent me the video on the Air Force doing their 50-year anniversary of the first flight of the F-16. We don't think of the F-16 as a 50-year-old airplane, but it first flew in 74. And also seemingly very modern, very popular helicopter, the A-Star, the 350, is also a 1974 first flight. And we think of this as being, that's a much more modern helicopter than, like the Jet Ranger, but it's 50 years old. Another helicopter I was surprised was 50 years old was a Marine Corps Sea Stallion. And I was like, wow, okay, I knew the Corps had it for a long time, but I didn't realize it was a half century old. And of course, although speaking of the Marine Corps, the F-18 is not that old. The F-17, which was what turned into the F-18, also first flew in 74, as did Europe's very popular, Panavia Tornado or Panavia Tornado. And I was thinking, wow, 1974 was 50 years ago, and that's when the Tornado first flew. That's also when the British first flew the Hawk, back then from Hawker Siddeley. Also, a very popular commuter airliner, which is hard to find a kit of, is the Shorts 330. And I remember when that was one of the most popular commuter airliners. And I was shocked to find out that it is 50 years old, as is the Long Ranger. And I knew the Jet Ranger went back to Vietnam, so that didn't surprise me. But the Long Ranger, which was the modern one, actually, again, 50 years old, as is the Army Black Hawk. Now, I was in the Army when the Black Hawks came on property, and it wasn't quite 50 years ago, but it first flew. The YUH-60 first flew in 74, as did the B-1 bomber before it was canceled and then reactivated. And going back even a little further, the F-15A Eagle went operational 50 years ago, as did the Navy's F-14 Tomcat. And I knew the Tomcat had gotten old. I mean, they're on sticks in front of air bases, so you're like, okay, they're getting old. But it just didn't quite click that it's been 50 years since these aircraft all did their first flight or went operational. Half of a century. They just, F-15, F-16, the Hawk, the Black Hawk, the Long Ranger, the Tornado. Most of these things are still in service. In fact, Tomcat's about the only one that isn't. So if I ask you to build a model of a 50-year-old airplane, you can go with some seemingly modern stuff. Now I'm feeling old. Oh well. As Mr. Rourke would say,
smiles, everyone, smiles.
Well, here's to another 50 years. It wouldn't shock me that in 50 years from now, the F-15 and the F-16 are still flying. Blackhawks too. Just saying. You never know. Look at the B-52. That thing may hit the century mark. Old airplanes. They ain't what they used to be. Okay, guys, take care of yourselves. And as always, model on.